now going to look at how we actually connect up the Mac to the projector. And with a, for example, Windows machine, you have a VGA port in the back, whereas an iMac has their own custom MIDI display port, which is one of these here. And that's basically an adapter which converts it from the MIDI display port that they use to a standard VGA cable. So we put that in the back like that. We then grab our VGA cable, and this is a male that goes out to the projector, and that basically just goes in there. Then to actually enable this on QLab, because QLab won't see it, you need to go to settings, video, and then if the projector was on, you'd see that there'd be a new surface underneath, which would be for the projector. So I'll just quickly add an empty surface just to demonstrate. So this is what the second surface would look like. You'd have your dimensions on this side, and you'd have your orientation down here, and this is basically if you wanted to map the projection. If you're doing it on a certain piece of setting, you need to map it so it only shows so much. You can do that, and then it's basically a case of once it's recognised, you press done, and then you're able then to transfer video from here to there in an instance with pressing the go button. I'm now going to show you different ways of actually sending that signal out to the projector. So as before, we have our VGA cable, and then we have different ways of sending it out other than that. We have projection boxes which have VGA in and out, has audio out, your power, and Cat5. The reason why we have these is that at the minute we're having to run a very long cable from here to the projector. With these, we don't have to do that. All we have to do is get a Cat5 cable, which is one of these. Some people will call them Ethernet cables. That basically goes into the Cat5 connection at the back, and then that will go, I'll just use this for now, that would then go into the Cat5 connection, which corresponds with the projector and where that's plugged into. And now the video signal leaving the Mac is now running through Cat5 instead of a big thick VGA cable. And by doing it that way, it saves money and it saves time setting it up, because this, as you already know, is patched all around the theatre. Then we have two of these. This is not the only one, we have another one. But that's what you could say, that's the sender, that's the transmitter. And then you have your receiver. This is what receives the signal and then sends it out of a Cat5 down to the projector. And it's basically the same principle as that. The VGA just goes in like that, and then that goes down to the projector, and that Cat5 goes into the patch. And by doing that, you've run video through Cat5 from the Mac to the projector. On the floor here, you can see we have I've basically laid out what it would be if we had the projector and everything. So starting from the power source, we have going out of the extension are two power cables which are going into both projection boxes, both the transceiver, the transmitter and receiver. This would go into the Mac, which would then go into the transmitter. The signal would then be sent out of the Cat5 data cable into the patch bay. Then once it gets to the patch bay, it's then routed from 18 to down this Cat5 data cable here, down to the receiver data box, which is then sent out of the VGA, which goes to the projector, and then you've got the power in that's coming from the extension. So that's the signal flow from the Mac to the projector. going to show you how we patch in video. So that would be from a Mac through the patch down here up to the tech box, which would then go through which would then be routed up to the patch on the Fly Terror, which would then come on the projection there. So if we were to imagine we had the Mac here, the equipment that we'd need for this is obviously the Mac. We'd need a Cat5 cable, Ethernet, that's what carries the signal from the converter to the patch, and then from the patch to the Fly Terror. We then need a HDMI cable. This is what carries the signal from the Mac, from the mini display port to the converter. And then we need the converter itself with its power supply. So this is one here. You see you have your HDMI input. That's where your Mac that's where you would go in from the Mac. And you then have your Cat5. It says Cat6 cable, but it does work with Cat5 cable as well. So that's your Cat5 cable out, which goes to the patch. Wherever the patch may be, it depends on where you are in this theatre. So for example, I'm here, so I will demonstrate this now. My Mac's there, that's going from the Mac, and it's coming into here. I then want to take my Cat5 cable from the Cat6 out, and if we come round here, you'll see where I plug it in. So on the patch, as you saw on the picture, there's two datas, there's data 5 and data 6. It's as simple as plugging the Cat5 cable into one of them. And you always want to hear the click, that's telling you it's locked in, so it won't just pull out. Then that would sit either by the Mac or on the floor. In our case this is quite long, so it's easy just to take that to there. And then we want finally our power cable, which would just go into the DC 9 volts. This takes 9 volts only. And then that will go into the general power, and you know that it's working because you get a red light which says that there's power going to it. And then you would have your Cat5 there. So now if that was connected up to the Mac, we would now have an image on the back. We don't at the minute because the Mac isn't here, but you would now be seeing whatever's on the Mac, you would now be seeing on here. And that's basically how you patch on stage up to the Mac to have things appear on the projection. I've got one here which I prepared earlier, and you'll see when I'm pressing the spacebar, you'll see that different things happen within this. So you see that cue is now playing, as there is a plus, or not a plus, a play button. Press it again, we can see that the video plays. Then press it again, we have a stop cue. Now I'm going to demonstrate how we fade in music and fade out music. You want to have the audio file track first, so you have the audio file first, you want to have that playing, and then I have a fade up of the track here, so that will fade up over a certain amount of time. And then I've got another cue which will then fade it out. And that's basically how we control video and audio, and that's how we do it within a show. And this would all go down in the prompt script, which the stage manager will call their cues from, to say, go, sound cue 1, sound cue 2.